I end up sideways in the ditch. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I look a little crazy right now because I had already started getting ready for the day, but I figured what better to do than chat with you while we get ready. What I actually wanted to chat about today, because I thought it would get you guys to know me a little bit better, is my driving history. Safe to say it hasn't always been good. I've never done anything terrible, like illegal. So we'll start out, it was the year 2015. That is when I got my learner's license. I did not know the woes of driving yet. In order to drive in Canada, you first need your learner's license and then you need a driver's license. Let's flash back to when I was 14. I didn't have my learners yet, and my dad let me drive his vehicle, and I didn't know which pedal was forward or backwards, and I accidentally drove his car into like the side, very slowly, but into the side of the church that we were at. No one else was really there, but it was like this stucco wall church parking lot, and I just grazed it a little bit, just grazed. So that is my first ever car interaction, really. Fast forward, I got my learners, all was well. I was easily trusted with a vehicle as long as someone else was in it. I was terrified of driving, like any girl is, you know, you don't want to die when you're the driver of a vehicle. I think I had it for about a year-ish, and then I went on my road test, and I failed. I think they just didn't think I was a confident enough driver, and I agree, I really wasn't. I didn't speed up fast enough to merge into like a really fast lane. I went on my second try in winter, and if you know Canadian winters are a little harsher. We had a little more snow than some other places, and I accidentally hit a snowbank on that drive. So automatically I knew, I was like, well, there we go. And here's the thing. So this instructor told me, well, you like drove on the sidewalk. I didn't drive on the sidewalk. I hit a snowbank. That was not the sidewalk. It was still the side of the road. So I think that was a little bit rude of him to say that to me, because I definitely did not. I didn't drive on the sidewalk. What kind of idiot drives on the sidewalk? No offense. But I didn't do it. So anyways, I failed that one. The third try, I think it went pretty good. I don't remember anything of it. My parallel park was good. Obviously it went good because I passed. I didn't have a car of my own yet, and my parents were very nice enough to let me take their minivan out for a drive sometimes. Now, I only lived about 2 blocks away from my school, and one day I was like, you know what? I want to drive to school. Let's do it. This wasn't the first time I'd driven to school, but it was like one of the more rare occasions where I just didn't walk. So I'm driving with the minivan, little Brittany in the seat. There was a point where I had to turn left. It was wintry, a little icy out. I think it was just more dumb decision making than anything, but for some reason, like the car that was coming towards me, I just didn't time it properly. So I turned when I thought I would have had room, and I ended up hitting them in the side of their vehicle. I'm so sorry. That was the first accident I've ever been in. I just cried. Like my whole body. It's like when you get into an accident and you're like, did that just happen? Is that real life? Like, did I just hit a person? Like, you don't know what to do. I called my dad. He was literally a block away. So he came over, we exchanged info. I think this lady hated me. I worked at a pizza place at the time, and I'm pretty sure she came in for pizza like twice after that, and I just had to face the horror of knowing that I'd hit her the back of her vehicle. Not crazy damage, but our minivan did get totaled off. Like, you know, the headlight was all dented in. So my parents ended up getting a new car. Yay. I give them that little gift, little new car. And I remember like I was only half a block away from my school at the time, so everybody driving to school could see me just crying as I got into this accident. And I got text messages that were like, was that you on the road crying? Yes, it was me. It was me. I did it. I hit the lady. And then my parents got this cute white car, so cute, family vehicle. I did not drive it for a while, you know? Okay, now I'm remembering, I definitely did not hit the side of the church in the minivan, because I definitely hit it in the white car. So I don't know when I hit the side of the church, but it definitely wasn't when I was 14. I thought it was, unless it was a different vehicle. My dad got me this teeny little yellow car. It's the Cobalt. I called it the Bumble Brit. It was my first ever vehicle, and I was in love. It was only a 2-door, so on my license, like registration stuff, it was actually registered as a sports car. I love this car. It was my little baby. It was kind of hard to get in and out of when you had friends coming with you because it was tiny, bright yellow, so just what I needed to cruise around town. Honestly, and it had no problems. It was awesome, but it wasn't always my car, you know? Like I hadn't bought it off my dad yet, so there was one time where I did actually have to take his vehicle. I'm just gonna zip over to Dollarama. So I just got in the car, made sure everything was good, checked the rear view, as you do, because I'm a good person. And yeah, no one was coming. So I just backed out of that driveway, you know, reversed it. And I heard this awful, like, and I just kept driving back. You know, I just, and And I was like, okay. And I don't see anything. So I got out of the car because that was a horrible noise. I just had to see what it was. And I had rammed our street recycling bin. I didn't see it, obviously, in the backup camera. And I didn't actually look in my rear view. I just looked at the little backup camera screen. So yeah, I had rammed the recycling bin. I booted it all the way down the road. So I just picked it up, put it back, and drove off to Dollarama. None the wiser. I come back, and my family had been inside. So they had actually heard it from inside our house. And they were like, what'd you do? Because they had obviously heard it, looked out the window, and saw me wheel back that bin and just drive away. So they didn't love that aspect of me driving, but honestly, just a few little paint chips, little teeny dent in the rear trunk area, and it was fine. Yeah, that was all that I did in that vehicle, just running into the side of the building and then running into the recycling bin. So I heard it already scuffed up the front and scuffed up the back. Win-win. And then I got my beautiful little Cobalt, who I love and who treated me so good. I didn't treat her as good. But here in Canada, it gets so cold, you need to really plug in your car, make sure it's all charged. My car was plugged in, great. One morning, I really was in a rush. You know, I had to go, blah, blah, blah. So I drove off, plug-in still in my car. Plug-in was like, everyone who lives in Canada, who's had a winter in Canada, knows this. You will, at one point in your life, drive off with the plug still in your car. When you get back home, and that's when you realize, is because someone tells you like, oh, I found this plug-in on the street. Is it yours? Yes, it was mine. I'm so sorry. Then that evening, we had just had a new gas station being built in my town, and I need to get gas. Even though it's been a crazy hectic, I almost ripped the power bar out of my car morning. As I'm leaving, my mom says, please drive safe. Like, just watch where you're going, pay attention, all the things. Absolutely. So I start driving. I make it all the way to the gas station. I fill up my car with gas. At that time, I wasn't filling it up myself because, you know, a little bit embarrassing when you don't know how to work a gas pump. But now I fill it up myself all the time because now it's embarrassing to talk to people. And this was a very recently built gas station, so I didn't exactly know the layout of the land per se. And it was winter, so you can't really see where you're going. There's snow everywhere. So the way you get into the gas station, you drive along the street. I turned right to go in, then there's all the gas pumps. And then you can exit over yonder, or you can exit where you came in from. I just decided, you know what? I know my way around the gas station from where I came in. That is where I'm going to exit. So I drive around away from the pump. My car's full of gas. Great. Look both sides because you obviously don't want to get hit by a car. Nobody's coming. Okay, I got to go fast. I don't want to get hit even though no one's coming. So I give her. All of a sudden, as I'm racing to turn left, because I'm turning left, I realized this was not an exit, only entrance only. Why? There's a big Meridian Boulevard in the middle of the road. So I literally went, I go onto the boulevard and I'm like, okay, this is so embarrassing. All the workers are gonna see me. So I just kept driving. There's a scraping noise. Oh, there's immediate tears. Immediately crying. I have to drive away though. I can't stop right there. Otherwise all the workers, they're gonna know it's me. They just filled up my vehicle. Of course they're gonna know it's me. So I drove about a block and a half away, parked, get out of my car, and I just look. I look at the underneath of my vehicle, try and see if there's anything hanging. I don't see anything. So I'm like, well, you know, can't be that bad. So I drive all the way back home, which is only like a 2-minute drive. Still crying. A little bit, a little less now that I didn't see any significant damage. And I go into the driveway, I park, and I just go inside and I immediately cry again. I don't know what happened. I just ran the boulevard and I just went in there. So as it turns out, my dad came to look at my vehicle and I popped both my front tires. I don't know how I did it. I know how I did it. I felt how I did it. And I got taught how to change a tire that day. That's what my friends call my funniest accident. Simply because, like, who would that have happened to besides me, you know? Now we have to talk about something that's a little bit sad. Yeah, I drove the Cobalt, I think from the year like 2017 to 2020. It was a good 3-4 years. It was a good time. I really enjoyed it. Probably 2021 actually. That's when it ended. Something about me is I'm not a car person. I've never been a car person. I barely knew how to fill my car with gas. I don't really know where to put windshield washer fluid. I'm not a big oil girl. Like, I would just go in for all that. And I wouldn't even take it in myself. I would get my dad or my boyfriend or someone else to take it in for me. So that being said, I never checked my oil. Ever. Maybe once when my dad showed me when I first had my car. But other than that, never. There was one time where I was driving back home. I had just visited my boyfriend at the time, now my husband. My car was making a weird noise. I, being a good person to myself, a good car owner, took a little video of it. I sent that video, I think the next evening. Like, I'd still driven to work that day. And my dad was like, that's not a good noise. Like, your car's knocking. What does that mean? Knock, knock. Not a nice knocking. Knocking is, so when your car runs out of oil and it's dry or something, apparently your engine breaks apart. I don't know what exactly happens. And it starts knocking to signify like, we need help, is what it says in my mind. So yeah, I was slowly breaking down my car because I hadn't changed out my oil. So the next day I drove to work and I had sent Mason the video and he was like, stop driving, stop it. Like, do not drive anywhere else. Your car could literally break down. I didn't know that. Then he comes to my workplace after I'm done my shift and he just takes a look at my vehicle and he checks my oil. Bone dry. Not a drop of oil on that oil stick. I think it's what it's called. And he was like, oh no, that's not good. And I was like, well, I don't want to drive something that's gonna die. I can't be a murderer to my vehicle. So we did what we thought was best. And we just posted it on a little ad for selling my vehicle. We sold it. He put it in the ad, like, this thing's knocking. Then I was out of a vehicle, very sad. Mason, being such a good boyfriend, such a caring boyfriend, he actually lent me a CRV, which is like just kind of a crossover SUV type vehicle. And so I was driving that for the next 2 weeks. It's winter time at this point when I'm driving this CRV. One thing that happens sometimes in winter is it will get very melty and then it's really cold again. So it just creates a lot of ice. So I'm driving down one of the main roads in the nearest city to us. And all of a sudden, I'm driving Mason's vehicle and my phone was on my seat because I'm not a distracted driver. So we were just chatting while I'm driving. And I have to merge to the right. I start merging, as I do literally every single day when I go to work. I start merging, all of a sudden, I start sliding. All Mason hears is just like garbled noises, me panicking. So what happened was I slid on this black ice. I went and I did a 360 around the road and I smashed into the middle. So I was merging this way and I ended up going smashed over here. I hung up the phone. I didn't want to talk to him. I was like, this is horrible. Like, I'm in his vehicle. Again, it was one of those panicking, like, what do I do moment. Let me say, for as friendly as a reputation as Canada has, nobody stopped to help me. Like, I was this poor 21-year-old girl. I didn't know anything about how to get myself off of a busy road when I just crashed. And after I crashed, my car would not start. It wouldn't start. Nothing was happening. One person stopped to help me. I think he was probably like 16, 17. He stopped the car. He like came to me. He's like, are you okay? I was crying by that point. Again, just a big crier when it comes to vehicles because it's scary. I was like, yeah, I'm fine. I'm just going to work. Like, my car won't start. He didn't know how to help me. He was as helpless himself. He was just a little caring, kind individual. So honestly, he went on his merry way, wished me all the best. Yeah, I eventually got my car to start. Someone was looking out for me. I called my boss when I was in the vehicle, cried, everything. And I just told her basically like, I'll meet you at one of the houses that we're going to go clean. Because I was house cleaning at the time. And she was like, okay, sounds good. Like, stay safe, all the things. So the way that I slammed into the middle of the road was actually the back of my car hit it, which was great because there was a little bonus wheel in the back. So I could drive it around. Now we're going to move on to the worst time of my driving career. I'm still in the CRV. In fact, it's a week later. 1 week later. You know when they say bad things happen in threes? For me, it's just bad things happen to me, especially when it comes to driving. It's a week later. I'm going to go and visit Mason because he lives about 25 minutes away from me. So I have to drive down the highway to go from my town into the city to see him. And I thought I would be a cutesy little girlfriend. And you know those seashell chocolates? I'm going to like find a picture of it. I was going to bring those because I was like, you know, I don't really love them. He likes them. We have some at home. I'll bring them. So I put them in the little passenger seat and we go on my way. Now, the highway, it had just snowed a ton. I think it was still snowing a little bit, but it was packed down and it had not been graded off yet. So I was like, you know what? This is fine. We're going to go down the highway and we're going to go to the city and I'm going to meet my man. Turn onto the highway, start speeding up, start driving. I get to about 60, 70 kilometers an hour. All of a sudden, I realized, not a good day. Now, here's the thing. When you get into a car accident, it goes so slowly that all I remember is thinking like, this is horrible. I don't know what I'm doing. And then I just remember, so I'm sliding across the highway, all the noises, again, as what happens when you crash your vehicle. I end up sideways in the ditch. I'm laying against the snow like that. All of a sudden, all the chocolates start falling on me because the box somehow opened up. The floor mat falls on me. The floor mat from the other seat in the car. Who do I call? Who's the first person I call? My dad. So my dad is like, I'm coming. I will be there. Like I literally told him, I'm gonna do an accident. I'm gonna say it. highway. And so he came and he was great. Everyone saw it happen. Everyone on the highway. So all I remember is I was wearing these itsy bitsy shoes, like just like slip on canvas, like knockoff Vans from Walmart or something. So now that I'm in the vehicle, I've called my dad, I've figured it out, like I need to get out. So I'm trying to open the vehicle and I can't because it's so windy, which is why the highway was so snowy, because all that wind was blowing the snow everywhere. But it's so windy that I couldn't open it. And all of a sudden, it's like two people just reef open this door. And it's these two like kind of farmer figures. They're wearing long boots. They're like, hey, can we help you? Like, yes, you're here to save me. So they pull me out of the vehicle. I'm a mess. I'm in these teeny little shoes. I have skinny jeans on. And we're trudging through, like, honestly, the snow was probably up to my, like, knees, if not thighs. It was deep. And we get to the side of the road. My dad had gotten there, like, a minute later, once I'd kind of been pulled out by these two very, very helpful men. They were so nice. I bet they thought that I was, like, 15, 16. No, I was a 21-year-old girl. So I get in the back of my dad's vehicle. I, like, tell him what happened. He actually brought my little sister, which, thank you, Dad, for allowing her to witness my demise of driving. And then the police came because somebody obviously called 911 because they saw my vehicle tip over. An ambulance showed up. I was like, oh. And this paramedic's hair was literally like, I don't know how old he would have been, but his hair was so long and he went outside and it was just like flapping in the wind. And I remember they were like, hey, come over to the ambulance. Like, we're just going to check you out. Okay. So I went, they did all the things and they were like, man, like you seem really calm about this. And so little backstory to the ambulance is they actually went to the wrong side of my town. So they were about 10 minutes behind everybody else. So I had cried, I had grieved the vehicle, I'd done all the things. So I was like, yeah, honestly, like I already cried about it. I feel pretty good. They were like, okay, like, do you want to go to the hospital? I said, I really don't, because I know when you go to the hospital in an ambulance, you have to pay for it. And I'm not paying for that. I'm checked over, given the clear, good to go. Then something that I didn't know you had to do when you get into a car accident is you actually have to give your statement to the police if they are called. So I had to sit in the back of a police vehicle and like, it's not comfortable. There's no cushy seat. Like, and keep in mind, I've just been in probably a pretty traumatic for me accident. Like I rolled the vehicle on the highway. So I have to give my statement and I gave my statement to the police and they made me say it and write it down. And it just sounded like they didn't believe me. I'm sure they did. They were probably, but he was like, any drugs that you've been on tonight? Have you been drinking tonight? No, I've literally I just packed up my chocolates to go see my boyfriend. Like, that's all I did. Not like I was under arrest, I hope. I hope I wasn't in for criminal investigations. When my dad and little sister picked me up, they took a little picture of what was playing on the radio. Now, keep in mind, it had been literally a week since my last accident in the CRV. And it was playing Britney Spears' Oops, I Did It Again. And they decided to show me that while I was in the shock and trauma of rolling this vehicle. They were like, ha, it's so funny. It wasn't funny to me. It's funny now. I laugh about it now, but that's what happened. Yeah, and that's been my last accident since. Oh, no, it hasn't. That has not been my last accident. You guys, I missed one. Let's talk about the big accident. Now, after hearing all of this, I bet you guys would never guess where I worked for a month and a week after I was done college before I started cleaning houses. A car dealership. I was a sales assistant to a salesperson. So I would just do like all the kind of running around, filling up with gas, filling out paperwork, doing cold calls to get people to trade in their vehicles. It was a horrible job. I literally hated my life. Everyone was so great except for my old boss. Like I literally, if I never saw him again, I'd be great. And let's keep in mind, I'm not a big country gal. I'm not a big farm gal. I've just grown up my whole life. I drive small vehicles. And one thing that this dealership specialized in a lot of was just trucks. So we had a few customers that would be buying trucks and I would have to go fill them up with gas and bring them back. One day, my boss asked me, he's like, hey, Brittany, this truck is ready for these customers. Go grab it and just bring it into the wash bay to get washed before they come pick it up tomorrow. You bet. Easy peasy. I already know that he's mad at me at other stuff, so I'm not going to go. I'm not going to contradict and say, hey, I don't have a lot of experience driving trucks. I don't really know how to maneuver them. How hard can it be? Hard. Very hard. So I drove this truck. Beautiful. New, white, stunning. Drove it all the way into the wash bay. And something that you don't realize about trucks is you actually have to do quite a wide turn because they're long, you know? I'm used to like, so I didn't do a wide turn. I did a shallow turn. So I'm driving. And there was a worker in the wash bay. Very nice lad. Very nice guy. And he just went, you're fine. And he like looked at the side of the vehicle. Doors dented in. Box dented in. Tens of thousands, if not $100,000 truck. again, like I've said every other time, immediate tears, crying. I have to go tell my boss. So I tell him, he wasn't even that mad, you know? He was like, it's an accident, it happens, like, you're fine, it's fine, we'll fix it. Long story short, I think he ended up like lying to the customer, and then they came in and yelled at him, and they were like, we don't care what happened, but you lied to us. And I was like, So, and I didn't even get fired, you guys. I didn't get fired, and I didn't quit. No, I did quit. I did quit that job because I had asked him a question one day, and he'd like just yelled at me, and that day I just like quit. And I also have backed into a pole once, but that's not really a noteworthy story. It's just like, it was really bad timing. So, and that happened to my car that I'm driving now. So yeah, now you guys know a little bit more about me and my history of driving. You know those shows like What Not to Wear? I feel like I am the face of what not to do while driving, or how not to drive. And this is the thing, I'm not even a really big distracted driver. I just find when I panic, it will go wrong. Hopefully none of you guys ever see me on the road. When in doubt, passenger princess it out. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for listening. Do you guys have any bad driving stories? Because I want to know. I don't want to be in this alone. So have a good week. Thanks for getting ready with me and just listening to like my life.